Before we jump into today's story, drop a quick comment to say hi. Tell me your name, where you're watching from, and let me know if you're sticking around till the end. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. Alright, let's get into the story. I don't know how much time I have left to write this. My hands are shaking, and the lights keep flickering even though the power company swore nothing is wrong. But before it takes me, as I know it will, I want to get this story out. Maybe someone will read it and believe me. Maybe someone will recognize the signs before it's too late. Friends, you enjoy listening to stories, but you don't subscribe to the channel or like the videos. I request you to please subscribe to the channel right now so that I get more motivation to bring you even more stories. If you help me reach 1,000 subscribers, I promise to bring you extremely scary stories with a truly real feel. 2 horror stories every single day. So go ahead, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and now let's move on to today's story. My name is Aaron Clark. I was born in Bristol, Tennessee, and until last winter, I had never stepped foot in Massachusetts. But when my Aunt Margaret passed away, I inherited a house in a small coastal town called Melbury, about 40 miles outside of Boston. It was an old colonial house, over 200 years standing, creaking under its age but grand in its bones. When the lawyer first called, I remember thinking how lucky I was. Starting over had been on my mind since my divorce a year before. The house sounded like a fresh start, a big property, a new town. I thought I had scored some twist of fate. I was so wrong. From the moment I pulled my car up that icy, salt-crusted road toward the house, I felt it, a pull. Not welcoming, something colder. The house loomed against a bruised winter sky, 3 stories, shutters hanging crooked, the windows dark like watching eyes. There was no noise in that neighborhood except the faint crash of far-off waves and the wind scratching the bare branches across the wood siding. My aunt hadn't lived there for years. The place was abandoned. Yet when I stepped onto the porch, I thought I heard movement inside. A shuffle, a breath. That first night, I camped out in the living room. No bed, no electricity yet, just a sleeping bag and a lantern. The air smelled stale, like damp wood and something sour underneath. I wandered the halls, shining light on old furniture covered in sheets. My aunt had left so much behind: antique dressers, velvet chairs, shelves stacked with books swollen with mold. But it wasn't just objects. There were markings, strange ones, on the inside of doors, in the floorboards by the stairs, and in the cellar on the stone walls. Symbols carved deep, some in sweeping circles, others jagged like runes. I didn't recognize any of them. Later, when I tried to sleep, the sounds began. At first I blamed it the wind, but the scraping along the floorboards wasn't the wind. Neither was the low whistle that seemed to come from the walls. At around 2:47 a.m., the lantern flickered. Then I heard it, clear as someone whispering into my ear, my name. The next morning, I went into town, desperate for some reassurance. The town of Melbury wasn't large, one main street with weather-worn shops and a diner. The locals were polite, but guarded. When I told one woman at the diner that I had inherited the Clark house, her face drained of color. "You're staying there?" she said, lowering her coffee. "Yes," I said. "Why?" She looked away, muttered something about bad memories, and refused to explain further. From then on, it was the same. Everyone knew the house, and no one wanted to talk about it. I found out from an older man, the only one willing to say anything at all, that the house had a sickness in its bones. He told me not to stay after dark, to get rid of it, to walk away while you still can. I laughed it off then, fool that I was. The second night, I swore I wouldn't scare myself over creaks and shadows. I set up a small cot in one of the upstairs bedrooms, unpacked a few boxes, and tried to act normal. But the house doesn't let you feel normal. The scratching began again, this time from inside the closet. When I opened the door, nothing but dust and moth-chewed fabric. Yet when I shut it, the scratching grew louder. I slept with the light on. At least, I tried to. At around 3 a.m., the bulb shattered in a pop, plunging me into darkness. I swear on my life, I felt a hand brush my face. By the third night, I was running on no sleep. My aunt's journals, left behind in the attic, made everything worse. She wrote about rituals. She wrote about how the house doesn't like to be empty, and that she had tried to keep it fed. Pages described sacrifices, not animals, not always anyway. There are newspaper clippings folded into the journals, local missing persons cases, accidents, unsolved vanishings, dates lining up with her diary entries. Was my aunt a murderer, or was she doing something else? Feeding something that lived in the hollow spaces of that house? All I knew was that by the time the fourth night arrived, the whispers came not just as my name, but in full sentences. Don't leave. You belong here. We are hungry. The cellar became the worst part. Stained stone walls, strange dampness, and those carvings I mentioned earlier. At night they glowed faintly, not bright, more like a dull ember under stone, as if fire lived behind it, waiting. I tried to take pictures, but nothing came out. Just static, darkness, or warped streaks like something was moving fast across the lens. Then one night, the cellar door slammed shut while I was inside. I pounded and screamed, but the lock held tight. That's when I heard them. Footsteps overhead. More than one person, or more than one thing. Slow, deliberate, as if circling the room I was trapped beneath. And then a laugh. Low, broken, not human. I've tried leaving. God knows I did. On the fifth night, I packed the car and started down the road, but no matter how far I drove, the sign said the same thing. Welcome to Melbury. Back roads looped into themselves. Highways spat me right back into the town square. I ran the car until it choked on fumes, and still somehow the house was in front of me again. The house won't let me go. I didn't believe in curses. I didn't believe in ghosts. But you stop disbelieving when the mirror shows things that aren't you. The reflection shifts. Now my face remains until I blink. Then I see her, Aunt Margaret, eyes hollow, skin gray, whispering behind the glass. You can't starve it, Aaron. You can't leave it hungry. I've started dreaming of strangers standing outside the windows, staring in. Every morning after, I find footprints in the snow, sometimes barefoot, sometimes not human. The house feeds on me, on my fear, my blood, my thoughts. I hear it upstairs right now, pacing, dragging something across the floor. Wood groans under its weight. I don't know how long I've been writing. Maybe weeks, maybe hours. Time collapses in here, but the house has made something clear. It will let me live if I give it what it asks. I don't know if it's a person it wants or something more, but I feel myself weakening, hollowing out day by day. If you're reading this, maybe you still believe you're safe where you are. You're not. The hollow feeds. It always has, and once it marks you, escape is impossible. The last words it whispered tonight were the clearest yet. Bring us flesh, or we'll take yours. The snow has not stopped in days, or maybe weeks. Time is shredded here, torn apart by the house's hunger. I know only that the windows are frosted from the inside, and every pane is dim, as if the sunlight refuses to enter. Last night I looked outside again, not with courage, more like curiosity mixed with resignation. They were out there, silhouettes in the snow, 10 or 12 forms standing perfectly still along the tree line. Their heads all tilted sideways in the same angle, as if their necks had broken long ago and they'd frozen in that pose. When I blinked,
They moved closer. When I closed the blinds, I still heard the crunch of snow under their weight as they walked towards the house in unison, slow, deliberate, endless. But when I looked again, they were gone. Only the footprints remained. And here's the worst part. Some prints led directly beneath the windows, circling the house, but no tracks left. As if they entered. As if they were inside. Today I tried mapping the rooms. It doesn't make sense. The second floor should fit logically above the first, the third above the second. But the layouts don't match. The hallway upstairs stretches longer than the house itself could physically allow. I walked it with a lantern, counting doors I was sure had not been there before. Some led to locked rooms with chains across the handles, others to closets that bent in unnatural angles, tapering into darkness. I opened one door at random and found a staircase leading downwards, not to the cellar but to someplace else. The air that rushed through was warm, damp, and breathing. I shut it immediately, holding the knob until my hand blistered. The door has not been there since. The mirror is no longer the only place I see her. Aunt Margaret is here in the house with me. She speaks clearer each night. Sometimes she stands in the corner just beyond the lamplight, lips moving in silence. Other times her voice bellows through the walls, cracked and wet, the way a body would sound if lungs were filled with water. Tonight she sat at the end of my bed. Her weight was real, pressing on the mattress. She whispered, "Aaron, there is no out, not through you. Don't fight it. Give it what it wants, and it will make you part of itself, forever." Her face was wrong, though. Too long, jaw distended, eyes boiling black like ink swelling in water.
The town knows. They always knew. That old man who told me to get rid of it, he never looked surprised when he said it. He was warning me, not about the curse itself, but about the burden of being chosen. I think Margaret was chosen before me, and before her, someone else. The house passes its hunger down like an inheritance. I caught myself in the cellar tonight, standing with a knife I had never owned, my hand already bleeding from gripping the blade. I don't know how long I had been holding it. Something in my head repeats, "Blood is the key. Blood is the door." I dropped it, ran upstairs, and locked myself in the bathroom. But when I looked at the sink, it was filled, not with water, but with hair and teeth. Not mine, someone else's. It's not only the house anymore. The town itself is tightening around me. The diner is always empty when I go. The clerk at the gas station doesn't ring me up, just watches with a pale grin. People whisper when I walk past. They know I'm not leaving. One of them slipped me a note folded into a newspaper this morning. It said only, "Don't feed it. Starve with the others. Break the chain." But how? How do you fight a house that bends the roads, eats the clocks, and breathes behind the doors? The house opened night to night. The carvings pulsed until a section of stone crumbled inward, revealing a passage that stretched longer than any beneath-ground tunnel should. I swear it went down forever, the glow of those markings lighting the walls as I descended. What I heard at the bottom wasn't footsteps. It wasn't whispers. It was chewing, wet, rhythmic, unhurried chewing. I never saw what it was, but I smelled it, the reek of iron and rot, the stench of earth after digging into something long buried. I think I glimpsed hands, dozens of them, scuttling like spiders across the walls. The house is not empty. It never has been. Last night, the house opened another door that had never been there before. I swear to you, I had walked that hallway 100 times, nothing but peeling wallpaper, warped floorboards. But when I turned the corner this time, there was a black door. No handle, no frame, just a slab embedded into the wall like flesh sealing a wound. I pressed my hand against it, warm, breathing. Then without warning, It cracked open by itself. The sound wasn't like wood. It was wet. A tearing sound. Inside was a small room with no windows. The walls were covered in photographs. Hundreds of them, all tacked with rusting nails. And the faces, God help me, the faces were mine. Not one, not two, hundreds. Each one of me staring out at some different angle, each with my eyes darker, hollower, until in the last one, I looked just like Margaret. I slammed it shut, but even now I can feel it waiting just behind the wallpaper when I pass. For days, the landline had been dead. No dial tone, no ring. I thought it was just another trick of the house. But last night, it rang. The sound was shrill, metallic, echoing through every floor. Against better judgment, I picked it up. At first only static, but then breathing. Slow, steady, wet. And then a voice, calm and deliberate. "You cannot keep it waiting, Aaron. It's been starving since Margaret. You know what must be done." "Who is this?" I demanded. The line crackled, then laughter, low, broken, the same one I heard walking above me in the cellar that night. The phone has been ringing every hour since. I've stopped answering. The ringing follows me even when I unplug the cord. They don't stay at the tree line anymore. The shadows I saw outside the windows, those twisted figures, now stand in the yard. I counted 15 of them last night, all facing the house with those tilted, broken necks. Their mouths hang open like something has unhinged their jaws. When I screamed at them to leave, they copied me. My voice came back in 15 warped echoes, repeating and repeating. This morning, I found mud tracks pressed into the hallway, bare feet, leading from the front door, up the stairs. But when I checked every room, they were empty, except for mine. There, at the edge of my bed, the prints stopped. Like something had just stood there, watching me sleep. I don't even remember sleeping. In the attic, I found a box of tapes labeled only with dates, spanning decades. The house provided me with Margaret's recorder to play them, though I swear that machine was not in the attic before. The first tape began with her voice, steady but tired. Day 118. I made the offering. It is quiet, for now. The town pretends not to notice. They're grateful. They always will be. The hollow doesn't eat what it doesn't want. It only takes the chosen. I couldn't breathe. My aunt fed it, over and over. Her voice on later tapes slurred, cracked, almost demonic. Then came the worst. A tape from years after she should have been dead. Margaret's voice thick with rot, whispering, "Aaron, it's your turn." The tape recorder shattered in my hands. I didn't break it. It broke itself.
There's no denying it anymore. The roads will not let me pass. The clocks do not tick in order. The neighbors are hollow-eyed puppets, and every wall in this house is closer, tighter, hungrier. It doesn't whisper to me now. It chants, a chorus from beneath the cellar, from behind the doors, from inside my own chest. Blood is the key. Blood is the door. Feed us and remain. I know what it wants, and I'm terrified because part of me wants to give it what it asks. Not because I wish to survive. No, I've accepted that death might be mercy, but because I feel the hollow inside me now, crawling, growing. I am becoming it. I forced myself back into Millbury today. I don't even know how. Roads bend, fold, things loop endlessly. But somehow I arrived at the diner again. Only this time, it was full. Every booth occupied, every stool taken. Faces turned the moment I entered. No one spoke. Not at first. Then, the chef behind the counter said, loud enough for all to hear, "Has it chosen you yet, Aaron?" The town isn't afraid of the house. The town serves it. They keep it alive. They've always kept it alive. Every missing person, every strange death, they were offerings. My aunt wasn't just feeding out of fear. She was performing a duty. The same duty they expect from me. When I ran out, they didn't follow. They didn't have to. Their silence was heavier than any threat. Back in the house, I passed the unmarked room again. This time, it was open. Inside, all the photographs of me were gone. The walls were stripped bare, nails rotting. The only thing left was a chair in the center, waiting. I don't know who it's waiting for. Me, or the one I am supposed to bring. When I turned, I caught sight of myself in the hallway mirror. But it wasn't really me anymore. The shape of my jaw was longer. My skin had a gray sheen. For a second, my reflection smiled, though I hadn't. I can't eat. I can't drink. Food rots before I can swallow it. Water turns black in the glass. But I'm not weaker. If anything, the house feeds me instead. The hunger inside isn't for bread or wine. It's for bone, blood, flesh. I dream every night of kneeling figures brought into the cellar, their necks bent, throats opened, their blood absorbed by the stone like it was earth drinking rain. When I wake up, the floor by my bed is sticky and red. I tell myself it's only the dreams, but the smell of copper lingers. Tonight, she touched me, Margaret herself. Her hand slid across my shoulder like loose skin stretched too far. You think you're fighting, but you've already given it most of yourself. All it waits for the final act. What act? I demanded. Her jaw cracked wide open, splitting into a black cavern that poured whispers instead of breath. Choose another or yourself. And then she was gone, leaving claw marks burned into my skin where she touched me. I hear the footsteps again now, closer than ever. They're in the walls, the ceilings, the spaces within me. The house has stopped asking. It demands. Every surface hums with the same chant, pounding like my heartbeat. Bring us flesh, or be devoured. The town waits in silence. The neighbors pace in the yard like shadows. Margaret smiles from every mirror. And me? I don't know how much of Aaron Clark is left. The hollow is in me, under me, is me. If I don't choose soon, it will choose for me. I found more journals, hidden beneath a false floorboard in the study, bound in leather so brittle it cracked at my touch. These weren't Margaret's. They were older, far older. Some pages written in archaic English, some Latin, and some in symbols I cannot identify. The earliest entry spoke of the year 1692. A family from Salem fled north after the trials, carrying with them something they had bound into stone. They built the Clark house to cage it, to appease it, to worship it. One line repeats across generations. It lives in the hollow places. The hollow wasn't born here. It was brought.
and every Clark since has been chained to it, including me. I walked through Melbury again tonight. Not a single light burned in a window. The main street was empty, storefronts abandoned, though I could swear I'd seen them alive just days ago. Then I realized the town isn't real anymore. It's a mask, a stage set built by the Hollow, a trap for me, an agreement maybe once upon a time between the settlers and the creature. But now, when I pressed my hand against the diner door, it went through. The wood rippled like water. All that was beyond it was blackness. The Hollow's world overlaps with ours. Melbury doesn't exist except to keep me contained. I tried to defy it tonight. I tried to starve it. When the chant began again, "Bring us flesh," I shouted back, screamed until my throat bled, refusing. The whole house reacted. Plaster split, glasses shattered. My ears filled with the cries of hundreds, maybe thousands, all howling in one voice, "Feed us!" Then the shadows came. They poured out of the vents, out of the cracks, out of the walls themselves. Long limbs skittering across the floor, mouths opening wider than their heads should allow. They didn't attack. They circled me, rattling the floor, pressing closer until I collapsed on the boards. Their message was clear: resist, or you will be one of them.
A knock on the door. The first sound in days that resembled human behavior. When I opened it, God forgive me, it was a woman. Real. Trembling, pale with terror. She couldn't have been older than 20. "The town sent me," she whispered, tears streaking her cheeks. "They said it must eat. They said I wouldn't be missed." Behind her, the shadowy watchers stood in rows, tilting their heads in silence. They had delivered her to me. My choice. My offering. Her eyes met mine, pleading, and for a moment, for the worst moment of my life, I wanted to do it. I slammed the door shut. I couldn't. I wouldn't. But the Hollow doesn't forgive disobedience. The walls bloated and pulsed, breathing like lungs. My skin blistered where I touched them. Shadows wrapped around my wrists, tugging, tearing. I saw myself in the mirror again. Not Aaron Clark, not anymore. My teeth sharper. My eyes black wells. My reflection moving before I did. Margaret's voice now sings in my head always. Choice is an illusion. Either you feed it yourself or you become what feeds. And I feel it happening already. My veins blacken, my bones gnarl under the skin. I am hollowing out. Soon I won't be the one writing this anymore. She hasn't left, the young woman the town gave me. I hear her crying at the threshold every night. Sometimes she begs to be let in. Sometimes she doesn't sound like herself at all. Her cries stretch, distort, break into laughter that isn't human. I know it's the Hollow borrowing her voice, using her as bait to weaken me, to push me toward the choice that will bind me completely to it. Yet every time I hear her sob, my resolve fractures a little more. Because what if, even for a moment, it really is her, terrified and abandoned outside? What if I could save her by letting her in? The Hollow knows. It feeds not only on blood, but on doubt.
New markings have begun appearing in the house, not carved, not painted, grown. They stretch like veins across the plaster, curling into words in a dozen languages, but I recognize them anyway. They all say the same thing. Aaron is next. I tried to scrub them away. My hands burned, skin peeling like wax. The next day, the words were carved into my chest as scars. The house is no longer warning me. It is branding me. I made the mistake of going to the cellar again. The glow was stronger now, the runes pulsing with a heartbeat not my own. The tunnel yawned wider, the chewing louder, closer, and then, God, I saw them. Bodies. Dozens, maybe hundreds, fused into the walls themselves. Not dead, not alive. Their mouths open, whispering, begging, their hands twitching faintly, as if reaching for me. Margaret was among them, her face pressed into the stone like wax into a mold, her eyes rolling, her lips mouthing words I couldn't hear. This is what happens when you belong to the hollow too long. You don't just die, you become part of its body. And it is waiting for me to join. I can't let this end with me feeding it. I've gathered rope, kerosene, matches. Tonight, I'm going to burn this place down. If the house can be destroyed, maybe the cycle can break. Maybe others will be free. But there's one truth that gnaws at me, one I've tried to ignore. What if the house isn't the prison? What if the house is the only thing keeping the hollow caged? Destroy it, and maybe I'm not just freeing myself. Maybe I'm freeing what's inside. The kerosene caught fast. Every room blistered black, smoke clawing upward as wood groaned apart. But the house didn't resist. It welcomed it. The flames danced in patterns, shaping symbols in the smoke, throwing shadows that weren't mine against the walls. I ran for the door, only to find myself back in the cellar. Fire above, the hollow below, nowhere left to go. The stone walls cracked open, a chasm blooming with heat and stench, and I saw the truth. The hollow is not in the house. The hollow is the house. Every beam, every nail, every scream in its walls. And the fire isn't killing it. It's waking it. The chanting is all around me now, inside me. Join us. Be hollow. Be free. The shadows gather. Margaret smiles. The girl outside screams. I don't know which voice is mine anymore. I have only one choice left. I can burn with this place, let the hollow consume me whole, or open the door and lead another inside. And though my heart prays for mercy, I can feel my hands already turning the knob. Because the hollow feeds. It always feeds, and I am nothing but its vessel now. The pages are blackening under my hands. Ash falls across the floor, though the fire hasn't reached this room. The hollow moves through me now. I feel its heartbeat beneath my own, its hunger stretching in my veins like roots digging deep. I tried. God help me, I tried. But I was never meant to win. This house, this prison, this curse, every Clark before me failed. I was never an heir. I was only an offering wrapped in flesh, walking here the day I arrived. The girl stopped screaming hours ago, or days. I hear footsteps pacing above, light, fragile, human. I don't dare look, because when I do, she won't have a shadow anymore. The walls are gone now. The fire devoured them, but left only more passageways, an endless network of tunnels pulsing like arteries. Each corridor whispers, each corridor breathes.
I can walk and never escape, only spiral deeper into its ribs and marrow. I think that's the Hollow's truth. There was no town, never a road, never a way out. There was only inside. We were born inside it, we live inside it, and soon we'll die inside it. What I thought was Melbury was a mask it wore for me because I needed to believe there was a world beyond. There isn't.
She is with me now, not only in mirrors or whispers. Beside me, hand in hand, her flesh crumbling like wet paper, her eyes turned to black wells that drip ink. "You're almost there," she says. I understand. Becoming hollow isn't death, it is shedding. Shedding skin, bone, name, humanity. That moment when I stop writing, when there is no more me, that's when the hollow stands up and breathes through my body. And I want it to happen. That's the worst part. I want it. The hunger is no longer foreign. It is mine. The floor has split open beneath me. I see the truth. The hollow does not live here. The hollow is everywhere. It spreads under oceans, under mountains, under cities that have sung lullabies over its veins. It waits through us. It grows through us. It chooses vessels, keeps the world eating itself so it can keep dreaming. And my turn has come. If this journal survives, if these words ever reach outside, remember this: there is no outside. The roads lead back here because everywhere is here. You reading this, you're already inside it. And when you hear the scratching at your door tonight, don't open it, don't look, don't answer when it calls your name. Because once you do, the hollow will know you, and it never forgets. 3 months after the Clark House fire, I, Detective Samuel Ortega of the Essex County Sheriff's Department, was sent to catalog the ruin. Officially, the file called it an accidental blaze. Unofficially, everyone in Melbury had already stopped talking about it the morning it happened. The house should have collapsed, but it hadn't. Half the structure still stood, blackened but solid, as though it refused to fall. In the cellar, beneath beams that smoldered but didn't burn, I found a journal. Much of it was destroyed, but some entries remained legible. The ones signed, Aaron Clark. I should have closed it then. I should have burned it myself. I didn't. Now I hear the scratching too. The fire report listed no casualties, yet in the weeks that followed, 3 locals vanished from Melbury. Their names barely made the news. Homeless drifters, a runaway, people no one would miss. Whispered rumors claimed they were last seen near the Clark property. The sheriff brushed it off, but I know better. When I returned to the ruin, I found footprints circling the blackened foundation, bare feet, half sunk in mud despite the hard frost. Some of them didn't look human. I traced Aaron's family files back. Margaret Clark died, yes, but her obituary was too clean. Before her, her father. Before him, another. A chain of deaths looping every 20 or 30 years, each marked by mysterious disappearances in Melbury. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Every generation, one heir inherits the property. Every generation, the town grows quiet. Every generation, somebody feeds the hollow. And if Aaron is gone, who's next? It started last night. I woke at exactly 2:47 a.m., choking on the smell of smoke.
In the darkness, I heard it, a voice just outside my bed whispering my name, not Aaron's, mine. When I turned toward the sound, there were footprints pressed into the carpet, wet, fresh, leading right up to the bedside. And I understood then, I never left that house. None of us do. The hollow doesn't stay buried in one body. It moves, it chooses, and it has chosen me. I am not Aaron Clark. I am not Margaret. But now I know what they knew, the truth passed down in bone and shadow. The hollow does not kill us unless we fail it. It keeps us alive, hollowed out until we serve. The town knew. The diners, the gas station, the silence, they're part of the mask. And I see it clearly now. The house is gone, but the hollow is not. It has simply moved on to its next vessel, me. There will never be an end to the hollow. That is the one truth that Aaron, Margaret, and even Detective Ortega came to understand too late. The fire could not stop it. The chains of bloodlines could not stop it. Neither silence, nor ritual, nor denial changes what the hollow is, because the hollow is not contained by the Clark house, nor by Melbury, nor even by the earth's stones. It is the absence beneath every late-night floorboard creak, every whisper in the dark. Aaron's words died in ash. Ortega's voice dissolved into static. Margaret's face rots in the walls of memory. And still the hollow feeds, drifting through generations, slipping from one vessel to another. Someone inherits, someone resists, and someone always breaks. Now the house is gone, but already another has begun to stir. Not in Melbury, not in New England, but in some forgotten town, where a stranger feels the hairs on his arms rise at night for no reason. The mask shifts, the hollow waits. And when darkness falls, when the scratching begins against the door, when the whisper curls low and intimate with your name, it will not be Aaron's burden anymore. It will be yours, because the hollow remembers and it never lets go.